All right, let me welcome my guest on the broadcast. Giorgio Cafiero is joining us. He's a professor at Georgetown University and CEO Gulf State Analytics. Giorgio, welcome to WION. A few minutes back, Giorgio, we've got confirmation that the Iranian foreign minister will be traveling to Islamabad. If and when the second round of negotiations happen between Iran and America, do you think there will be any sort of positive outcome, or will it end up in a stalemate like the last time around?
Thank you so much for having me back on your program. It seems to me that there is a desire on the part of both the U.S. and Iran to talk, but I don't see either side believing that it is very urgent to get back to talks. And therefore, we have to consider that this situation in and near the Strait of Hormuz, which is extremely tense, could result in the extremely fragile ceasefire collapsing prior to any resumption of U.S.-Iran talks. So I think it will be incumbent upon the intermediaries, chiefly Pakistan, to try to convince Iran and the United States that returning to talks sooner rather than later, or maybe I should say as soon as possible, is in the interest of the region and by extension, the rest of the world.
Giorgio, America has put out a threat once again, saying that we will not hesitate in striking Iran once again if it doesn't make a deal soon. Do you see that happening anytime in the near future, considering the fact that there is a stalemate? The truce is fragile. It has been extended for sure, but it still remains fragile, and there are deep sticking points that still remain unresolved.
Sure, I would not be surprised at all if the Trump administration decides that the way to break the stalemate and to try to pressure Iran into making concessions to Washington and to meeting the maximalist demands of the White House would be by resuming the hostilities against Iran, resuming the war. That would be very consistent with many of Donald Trump's past foreign policy decisions, in which he has sought to rely on the overwhelming military force of the U.S. to create new facts on the ground. But at the same time, I don't think that would necessarily prove to be successful. In fact, I'm very doubtful that that would achieve the types of results that the White House is desiring. I don't see a military solution to this standoff over the Strait of Hormuz. Ultimately, the strait will be open after there is real diplomacy and compromises between the two sides, not through a continuation of warfare. But to get to your question, though, and to repeat my point, I think the Trump administration might believe that resuming the war is the only way to push the Iranians on this front.
All right, let's wait and watch how that proceeds. I'm going to leave it there. Giorgio Cafiero, thanks very much for joining us on WION.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.